Hello and welcome back. This is part 2 of my 3 keys to detach from the narcissist to restore lost power, save your sanity, your life, maybe even your kids and your kids' life. So, welcome to my work. I'm author and coach. I have several books for women who love alcoholics, who are trying to break free of codependency, trauma bonds, love addiction. And I have 5 books for moms right now who are forced to co parent with a narcissist. So I'm a survivor, not a therapist. These are no rules of the court or actual therapies that are scientifically studied or anything. So just know that these are my tips, tools, and strategies that work for me. They may or may not work for you, but they're my best wisdom. And so take what you like, leave the rest. If you're willing and ready to learn, I am here to teach and mentor. So if any of my books sound like they would be helpful for you, they're all available on Amazon. I do talk about stepping into the self-love solution with self-love and self-partnering. Often we try to partner with someone else, and that can be to our detriment. And I suggest you read my books in the order written. If you're watching on YouTube, you see them here. My first is Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane. So how to detach from the narcissist. 3 keys for detaching from a narcissist to save your sanity. Number 1, emotionally uninvest. First, we must acknowledge that love is a choice. If we have this certain freedom, we can exercise it. We have a certain freedom that the narcissist actually can't take away. We have the freedom to think for ourselves. We get to choose who we continue to love year after year. Hormones, seduction, and falling quote unquote in love, which might have been in lust, may have felt like we lost control of our ability to choose, but who we continue to actively love with our time, tension, care, concern is our choice. If we cared too much, we may have emotionally invested too much. Key: emotions hold our energy. Having emotional stability is essential to preserving the energy we need to make healthy choices, to act on our own behalf, to advocate for our children. So, emotional energy is our energy. Having emotional stability is essential to preserving the energy we need to make healthy choices. Emotional energy that is a blend of fear, anger, pain, love, hate, and sadness may lock us in place. If we lack emotional sobriety, we lose our precious power, not only to a controlling narcissist, but to our own volatile emotions. Overinvesting in a person is a powerful emotional lock. It can be personally devastating to lose energy to our own emotions. Investing in another person can be an obstacle to our personal healing and growth. For our healing, it is essential to disconnect from draining activities in order to reconnect to things that restore us. If our entire life or days worth of energy is spent trying to fix, save, rescue, heal, please, and appease the narcissist, there may be no time for self care, no energy for our own healing work. There may be no time for our kids. There might be no time for us to be the mom we want to be. If we are invested in insisting in attaining specific outcomes with the narcissist, we might be tightly holding on to something that's actually harmful. If we insist that an irresponsible narcissist become responsible for saving a relationship or a broken family when all he thinks about is himself, assets, money, image, or narcissistic supply, we may be lacking common sense and grasping at false hopes. Compulsively, we might be giving and giving to the narcissist and thus getting attached to the results we want. This is just one way an unhealthy attachment forms. As hard as it is, we have to stop emotionally investing. We have to stop giving to the narcissist and start giving to ourselves to save ourselves. We must face the fact that sometimes what we want isn't good for us. And sometimes who we want isn't right for us. First and foremost, our priority needs to shift to self-preservation. Self-preservation is a must, especially if children are involved. If we find we are more concerned and care more about the narcissist and his problems than he is about accepting help, we need to take notice. If we are the only ones working to hold the relationship together, then we need to acknowledge this imbalance and take notice. If we are the only ones working on the relationship, it's very one-sided. If we are losing ourselves in the relationship, we need to acknowledge this as serious and very self-detrimental. Soul loss is a seriously harmful thing. If the future with the narcissist is looking bleak and dismal, we need to invest in our future elsewhere instead to give ourselves a chance at a better future. When we divest from the codependent relationship, we free up energy to invest in other things, namely our healing and health. Self-care is not selfish, it's a necessity. Wisdom says, detach as an act of self-love. Wisdom says, detach as an act of self-preservation. The question is, where can we emotionally invest in ourselves? Check in with yourself. Do you need to work on your health, finances, friendships, codependency recovery? When we decide to pull back our energy and emotions from a bottomless pit and avoid in another that we cannot fill, we free up energy to take care of things that will benefit our health. The bottom line for me was that I couldn't get a healthy relationship from an unhealthy man, no matter how much I wanted it. It didn't matter what I did or how long I tried. It didn't matter how much I emotionally invested. I held on to false hope and fairy tale style romantic dreams to the point where they almost destroyed me. Learning to let go of toxic people and moving on with our lives is a skill we have to learn and get good at. Number 2, see the narcissist as separate from you. I used to say my alcoholic, quote unquote, like I owned him. I felt like he was my man, which had me holding on way too tight. We need to release any type of mental ownership we have on the narcissist, like my baby's daddy. Take away the my, because they aren't totally ours. We don't own another human being, and we need to see the narcissist as a separate person. We aren't them, they aren't us. They're unique and different, and so are we. We have a path in life to follow with lessons and consequences that we need to learn, and they have a path in life to follow with lessons and consequences that they need to learn. No, some of them have learning disorders and never learn. They have to realize on their own their problems, if they ever do. We can't give someone our empathy. We codependents have different lessons to learn. Where the narcissist tends to be super selfish, a codependent tends to be overly selfless. Codependents have to stage a bit of narcissism and get into a cocoon of self-care to heal for a time and transform like a butterfly, like a caterpillar to a butterfly. If your ex is an alcoholic narcissist, like mine was, you can pick up my book, So You Love an Alcoholic, Lessons for a Codependent, and start your stages of grief, acceptance, and healing. Wisdom says, detach as an act of exercising your power and right to make new, healthy choices on your own behalf. When we see the narcissist as separate and not quote unquote ours, this allows our minds to let go of its unhealthy claim and hold on a person. We aren't their mothers and can't be. They are grown adults with problems. We aren't their teacher, trainer, sponsor, life coach, or law enforcement either. If we were in a romantic relationship with a narcissist, we had a relationship role. They're required to come to a relationship willing and healthy enough to participate. We can't take on 10 different roles for another person, such as crisis caseworker and or mental health compassionate therapist. That would be going beyond our job description. We are only one person, and going beyond our role overextends us. It creates bitterness to brew because it's unfair to us. A partner not being responsible for himself, health, finances, career, family puts us in an unbalanced relationship. Balance is one key to a happy and healthy life. If we become unbalanced, we lose our sanity and much more. We must be restored to sanity by seeing ourselves as separate from the narcissist. We need to identify if marriage vows were made before we learned who and what they were, narcissists. This new awareness may, at the soul level, make them void, like any business contract that doesn't fully disclose pertinent information. Commingling finances and our lives with a personality disordered person isn't a smart move of the mind or the heart. We certainly don't want to sign legal paperwork with someone selfish and disordered and get into like a marriage. If we mistakenly married a liar or a lie, then we need to own our part. Commit to doing better research on a potential partner next time and take more time getting to know someone that we plan to be intimate with or share our lives with next time. We can learn from all our mistakes or any large or small errors in judgment. We can see our patterns to put a stop to being carried away unconsciously by romantic highs and hopes. We can notice a narcissistic pattern in another and heed the warning. We can start trusting our gut instincts and take things slow so we can choose consciously next time. Wisdom says, detach for your vulnerable, dependent self and detach for your vulnerable, dependent children. Detach from the narcissist. The narcissist is a separate person with a problem that often needs professional support. If our love and compassion could heal them, it would have. If they are alcoholics, addicts, or substance use disordered abusers of substances, addicted, or struggling, they do need help. They are on a journey and need to learn their lessons. We can't learn their lessons for them. We must learn our own and shift our focus to ourselves and our neglected areas of life. We might not have healthy eating habits, an exercise routine, or friendships that are mutually beneficial and satisfying. The narcissist is toxic to even those closest to them and this can be isolating and life destroying, not just for the attached codependent, but for the entire family. Do take a moment to self reflect and think of what lessons you are currently learning. You can reclaim your life and take responsibility for loving yourself into a happy, healthy life or next chapter. Start stepping into that self love solution. Key number 3, see yourself as separate and worth saving. Wisdom says detach so you can get some help. Do you know your worth? Do you see your value as a person? Someone who's loving, caring, compassionate, empathetic, organized, and committed, who can do wonders for those in need. Those we help that are in need can't be lazy, apathetic, full grown adults with rights, including the right to fail. The narcissist has the right to fail, but not take others down with them. Failure can be our greatest teacher. For some of us, the only way we learn is the hard way. In most cases, our help is best served in populations that need us temporarily and for those who can't care for themselves, such as elderly, children, and animals. We are typically caregivers who often get burnt out on one codependent relationship. and unable to contribute our gifts to society. Can you relate? Do you feel like you have so much to give? It's a beautiful thing to be a generous, caring giver. However, we must make sure we are giving in the right and healthy way to those it can benefit and not harm. Enabling is harmful, but helping is helpful. We must learn this difference and mindfully make this distinction. We must honor our value. We need to know our worth. We are unique. We have gifts. We are walking a different path in life. We are a separate person who has different needs, wants, desires, goals, and purposes. We can't make a man our mission. We mustn't make a person our project. It's not healthy to make a person a project. They have rights too. We don't want to take prisoners of love, quote unquote, either. We need to see our uniqueness and find our interests and look for some purpose in our pain. Different things interest us and matter to us. We are not the same as the narcissist, even if there is a common interest or many commonalities. We can embrace being different as okay. We need to see ourselves as a person of worth and value, having much to offer those in need, especially our children. When we know our worth, we will take time to restore ourselves and make better choices. Do a self check-in. Have you taken any time for yourself lately? We can help the world around us. Caregivers have drives, impulses to serve, and we must honor those. We can see ourselves on a separate path in life from the narcissist. We don't have to limp along in life clinging to someone who won't get help and whom we can't help. We can't drag someone to an authentic, happy life. We can't drag someone to the truth either. We can't directly or even with force change another person at their core. We can't give someone our recovery program. We can't cure a personality disorder in another. In many cases, helping someone like a narcissist enables them not to get help. We must see ourselves as separate from the narcissist with a separate path to follow. Constantly helping the narcissist or appeasing the narcissist often distracts us from helping ourselves, or worse, our kids, helping those little precious children that need us. If we haven't focused on ourselves in years, we have to stop, pause, and see ourselves for a change. If we are losing ourselves in a relationship with a narcissist, even a co-parenting relationship with a narcissist, we must realize what's happening to us. We must acknowledge if we are giving the narcissist attention that we need to give our kids. We can make the switch with awareness first, acknowledgement second, and then back up our commitment to our child or our children with action. Here are 3 more keys for detaching from the narcissist. 1, break the trauma bonds. Watch my video, 20 ways or 200 ways. Number 2, use a gray walling strategy to stop any hoovering, love bombing, or other narcissistic tactics. 3, do a recovery program. Enroll, get in the program, attend meetings like Codependence Anonymous or CODA. Here are some bonus tips. Bonus tip, replace what you are attached to, fill the voids. We must take responsibility for our lives. It's our job to fill the voids with healthy, satisfying endeavors. Us getting healthy helps our kids. Us doing healthy things inspires and teaches our children. After we decide to detach, we will need some support to maintain that commitment. Then we must attach to something good, positive, and healthy for us. We must invest our time into things that make us healthy and keep us free. Many recovery programs suggest adopting a higher power, so we are able to attach to something bigger than the narcissist or our codependency. To fill the voids, we can engage in anything that's healthy, safe, and sustains us, mind, body, and spirit. It could be a yoga practice, a spiritual discipline, a health program, or recovery program like CODA. If the narcissist is drinking and drinking is a concern, Al-Anon is a 12-step support group for people whose lives have been affected by someone else's drinking. We can even take parenting classes to help us be better, more skillful moms. To learn about CODA and start a recovery program, visit www.coda.org. When we detach from the numerous needs of the narcissist, there will be voids that we have to consciously and mindfully fill. So we must make healthy choices. We have to find something for our Sunday nights that's wholesome, fulfilling, and rewarding. Some women use regular CODA meetings and attach themselves to a personal recovery program as a way to save themselves. Find your healthy outlet and healing program. Make healing yourself your main mission for a while. When we make healthy choices, our lives become healthier. We can go from merely surviving to thriving with a recovery program and sustainable solutions, and finding and seeking that support. We don't have to go into a free fall after we let go. Instead, we can tie a rope onto a floating ship like recovery programs and learn to swim. We can anchor into something healthy. Learn all you can from those recovery programs or DV counselors and DV support groups that deal specifically with the codependence dilemma. Wisdom is powerful, and hearing stories of survival can give you hope. Whether it's a program that targets codependency, deals with alcoholism, addresses narcissistic abuse, or dysfunctional family systems like ACOA, Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families, look for local resources. Many domestic violence agencies run peer to peer support groups as well. Narcissists are often abusers. If you're suffering from abuse by a narcissist, like intimate partner abuse, I encourage you to seek help that's safe for you. You can visit www.domesticshelters.org or do an online search. Bonus tip: purge your pain. We may need to find a holy witness to purge our pain, shame, and fears. We may need to tell someone our personal truth. The truth can set us free. On the other side of the purge, we can feel freer. This can help us deal with any anger we have at ourselves for staying in a self-harming situation. This can help us to be honest with ourselves. Safe sharing with an understanding, caring, compassionate person can cut our psychological burden in half. If we walk away from the relationship limping, we will need time to heal. If we walk away from the relationship with a backpack of responsibility, unfairness, and injustice, we will need to feel some of these feelings to heal. Venting toxic emotions can get the poison out of us. Having someone there to witness our personal revolution can be affirming and healing. Purging in a safe, confidential way can be a power tool, and a very powerful tool, just like detachment. We can detach with anger, we can detach with love. But if detachment is necessary for survival, either form of detachment can be beneficial. Don't continually judge yourself harshly for your choices in love or partner of the past. Caring, loving people are good people. Everyone makes mistakes. Our job is to learn from our mistakes and to not repeat them. Repeating mistakes can lead us to self contempt. We want to respect and honor ourselves to avoid more self-harm. As the yoga master Swami Kripalu said, the highest form of spiritual practice is self-observation without judgment. You may want to consider adopting a spirituality that can help sustain you through your healing and recovery. A loving higher power concept may be just what you need if you have mistakenly made the narcissist your higher power for years. Bonus tip: practice soul retrieval and soul distancing. A toxic relationship can chip away at our soul. To save ourselves and our soul, we may need to not only practice self preservation and set boundaries with others, we may need to do some soul retrieving and soul distancing. To fully let go, to fully separate, I had to cut all energetic, invisible cords and ties to the narcissist. This took many healing modalities to help me detangle from the toxic web of loving someone that hurt me to the core. There are many modalities to help with soul healing, such as yoga, Reiki, and more. Start journaling and asking your soul what it will take for you to heal at the core level. Explore healing programs and find what's helpful. A word of caution: watch out for spiritual narcissists. They are the worst kind, in my view. While you are vulnerable, it may be best to connect with a local DV counselor who is a woman or get a female sponsor in CODA. Bonus tip: rebuild your self-esteem. We tend to lose self-esteem and self-respect the longer we stay in a disrespectful relationship, so it will require many esteemable acts to reclaim our most fundamental power, our self-esteem. Rebuilding self-esteem can range from cleaning our house, apartment, or car to going to the gym regularly and starting a diet. Getting ourselves into individual therapy and going to CODA meetings regularly can affirm that we matter to ourselves, even if we don't matter to the narcissist. Self-care is essential, and so is self-respect. Find any self-respecting, healthy activity to do this week and do it for yourself. Prioritizing you, not the narcissist. Prioritize self-care. When we are not doing self-care, we are in the dysfunction. At a later time, when we are healed enough to help others, when we feel stable and solid enough in our lives, we can find purpose in our pain and help where and when we can. Having a sense of purpose also grants us power. Our children can give us some of that purpose. Bonus tip: learn to detach one day at a time. There is so much we can do when detached from a narcissist that we can't do for ourselves when attached to one. If we detach successfully, even if it's in small increments, we can enjoy life again. After a break off or a breakup, we may have to take life one day at a time. Facing the holidays or life without someone can feel daunting. We can make lists to remember the things we endured and the pain we lived through with the narcissist. We don't have to cave into nostalgia. We can keep reality on our nightstands or posted on our fridge, TV, or bathroom mirrors. Many of us have had to fight for our freedom and sanity. We've had to work hard to block out the narcissist's negative comments and start caring for ourselves. Self-care is not selfish, it's absolutely necessary. We don't have to face an entire lifetime without the person we used to love. We can just do it one day at a time, as they say in many of the 12-step programs. If there's any post-separation abuse, or what I call co-parenting abuse, and boundary backlash, we can get counseling from local DV, domestic violence agency counselors. Users and abusers don't like it when their quote-unquote supply or narcissistic supply sets boundaries, limits, and says no. Further, narcissists can't stand the word no, being as overly entitled as they are. Emotional and verbal abuse is still abuse. We may not recognize the abuse we have lived with for years as abuse. With support, like a caring, confidential therapist or a recovery program like COVA, or a DV counselor and an understanding sponsor, we can start admitting things that used to make us feel shame. We can transition through the stages of grief to overcome our losses to the narcissist and the codependent relationship. If we are dealing with an angry narcissist, we may need therapy or counseling work to work through our fear, and a DV counselor or support to get a safe plan established. It's wise to seek therapy and address our fears. Seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness. We can give ourselves self-compassion for all the struggles we have been through. Most of all, we don't have to abandon ourselves. We can learn to self-partner and step into what I call the self-love solution. Enjoy the benefits of an independent, healthier life without the narcissist. When we have detached, we don't fall for any guilt trips from the narcissist that can take away our healthy living or happiness. Often, as we pull back our attention and start getting healthier, they become jealous, irritated, and annoyed because they aren't the center of attention anymore. We must hold our ground and understand the emotional backlash and tantrums that grown narcissists often have, which is a form of manipulation when they lose control over their caretakers or victims. Being emotionally free is a beautiful gift we can give ourselves. The abuser also needs to go after their own gifts of freedom from substances and selfishness and mature past childlike or adolescent behavior. Holding us emotionally hostage isn't a healthy relationship. Controlling us with our love for them is manipulation. Fighting and arguing with us doesn't get them the help they need. They need to focus on getting help just as we must. If the narcissist becomes pathologically jealous, we may be dealing with mental illness, not just a personality disorder like NPD or narcissistic personality disorder. If this is the case, we can accept that even if they stop abusive behavior, it won't cure mental illness or reverse a personality disorder. If we have been mistakenly blaming substances or alcohol for all of the narcissist's problems and not realizing they are disordered to a different degree, we can acknowledge the limits we have and they have as partners. Instead, we can seek to start a healthy relationship with ourselves. I'm Grace Wroldson, mother, survivor, certified life coach, and author of many self-help books for women and mothers available on Amazon with all of my tips, tools, wisdom, and strategies. I loved an alcoholic narcissist for 15 years, tried everything to get him sober and save our relationship. I spent 20 plus years in Al-Anon, CODA, ACOA, and studied AA myself, hoping to save the relationship and the alcoholic. But when loving him didn't save or fix or rescue him, I had to fight to save myself, my sanity. I practiced program principles, gave myself a new life of peace, freedom, and serenity. And with self-love, I enjoyed being single and raised our child safely outside of an alcoholic home. I now help mothers forced to co-parent with a narcissist and those facing high conflict custody battles. What are your next steps? We will have work to do after detaching from the narcissist. There's often aftershock, tons of grief, and self-discipline to master, obsessions to overcome, some common sense to be restored, and more. We must stay on the path towards thriving as we survive the fallout and get closure from a toxic relationship. Note, the narcissist can't give us the closure we seek. Only we can do this for ourselves. We mustn't look to the narcissist to solve any of our internal hurts and wounds. We can heal and step into a new healed life. We can make it through the grief and loneliness. We can emerge transformed by self-love and come out stronger than before. We can believe in ourselves even if the narcissist doesn't or no one else does. Pick up some of my helpful books or read some of my blogs, which are all contained in my books, so that you can read and practice detachment. Remember, knowledge is power, so learn all the lessons you can. Just a quick disclaimer, these are helpful tips based solely on my thoughts and opinions. I'm not a qualified mental health professional or a crisis caseworker, and this can't substitute any mental health help or DV counseling help that you need. And I don't give any legal advice, so I'm not liable for any injury or harm. Please follow your doctor's, therapist, counselors, lawyers' advice, as well as your own good common sense to see if any of my tips can be helpful. Each case is different. What worked for me may not work for you. So I often say, don't allow the narcissist to terrorize you using your own fears. So how do you stop this from happening? Get support, heal, and create solid strategies. Another tip is to shift your energy away from the narcissist. If he's consuming and eating up all your time and attention, your hours of your day, shift it to where it can do some good to your child, to your life, to your healing, to your self-care, to your finances, to even cleaning your house or apartment, to anything healthy. Shift it away. This is my 3 keys to detach from the narcissist to restore lost power. and I want to get to my 3Ds. So if your co-parent is a narcissist, you can use my 3D approach. 1, discuss it, 2, document it, and then 3, detach. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, you will need to set up some boundaries, create self-rules, practice detachment. After you, 1, discuss it with your strategist, coach, or mentor or lawyer. 2, document it in a strategic and systematic way. And 3, detach with a plan in place. Even if the plan is to just document it and go to weekly support groups or weekly therapy sessions or weekly meetings with a DV counselor, have the detach with a plan in place. You can come over to my website, read some of my helpful blogs. My 20 Wants is a great, powerful tool. Yes, we will have to face some grief. My Tame the Narcissist new book, 10 Keys for Better Co-Parenting to Create Peace and Protection Using Strategy and Skillful Means, is available on Amazon. I do believe healing can happen after narcissistic abuse. So I have tips, guidance, and resources and 25 keys that's in my Tame the Narcissist book, but you could get this separately on my blog. When it comes to healing from narcissistic abuse, we will have to learn the lessons. That's one part of healing. So make sure you're journaling and writing down the lessons that you're learning. Keep your journal in a safe place away from your kids who can read. And learn to recycle your pain. So sometimes the energy of anger can help you build and be constructive rather than destructive. So make something useful for yourself or your children out of your anger, because there will be some anger. Careful not to direct that anger towards yourself. I've heard that anger turned inwards can be depression. So just learn from these mistakes. We all make mistakes. Mistakes are for learning. Subscribe to my new Spotify podcast, Navigate the Narcissist When Co-Parenting or in a Custody Battle. Look for my new nonprofit foundation. If you're looking to donate or get the support from the foundation, I'm going to pair up and work with other moms so that we can support moms in custody battles with a narcissist. My books are all available on Amazon. And please, if you have children with a narcissist, focus on your kids. Watch out where the narcissist kicks up the drama and really does a lot of damage, and takes away attention from your life or your children. I'm going to talk about creating an ignore button. And I learned this from my sponsor. When my sponsor asked, can you ignore anything? And I was always hyper vigilant, hyper alert. I was, a victim of abuse. So you might have to install an ignore button. So look for that on my Facebook groups for moms co-parenting with narcissists, or co-parenting with a narcissist wisdom for moms groups on Facebook to get my tips. If you are going to family court, I suggest several legal consultations and use my 20-question attorney interview worksheet. Read my guide before you do them. Have that interview worksheet filled out, ready to go, so you can maximize those legal consultations. Check my YouTube channel for more free videos, because I have the one thing not to say to the narcissist if you're using my Skillful-Means strategy, which can create peace and give you back your power, and 3 things not to do. If you need the basics, I have a Navigate the Narcissist co-parenting video course, 11 videos to get solutions for your sanity, because often, legal abuse is one of their tactics. Not always, but some. And you can subscribe in the link below to my free Substack email newsletter, which also has my podcast. So remember to like and subscribe to get my free tips, tools, and strategies. If you're going to start reading my journey, my book From Hurting to Hope and Healing, start with Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane. It's also available on Audible if you'd rather listen than read. If you're reading, you can take notes, you can circle what's relevant, you can highlight, but you also can have a journal ready for when you're listening on Audible. Thank you so much for watching part 2. I hope the idea of detaching and my 3 keys of discussing and documenting and detaching can help you and your children My aim is to be a light in the darkness of this dilemma and to help children get, protection and child abuse and neglect prevention. And it starts with bolstering the moms. If you're a member of my private support groups on Facebook, you can find my Stronger Together Zoom groups. We get courage to connection. We go from stress to strategic. We go from reactionary to responsive. I teach all these life skills because we're going to need to employ a lot of skills like gray walling or Skillful-Means to deal with co-parenting with a narcissist or high conflict custody battles. I do have a Document the Narcissist guide, which is in my Tame the Narcissist book, that will help you think strategically when you're documenting, so you don't feel like you've got to document everything and spend all your time thinking and tracking what the narcissist does and doesn't do. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.